Hello guys, so today we are going to see urine formation. So let's start with the urine formation. So there are generally four steps in the urine formation. Okay, so before going on to this that four steps, let's just have a revision on the parts of the nephron. So first part, if you see, this is your glomerular capillaries. Okay, glomerular capillaries. So this part is known as your glomerular capillaries, and then this part is known as your Bowman's capsule. And the artery which bring blood into the glomerular capillary is known as your afferent arteriole, and this one is your efferent arteriole. Okay, and this part is your proximal tubule, or you can tell your tubule commonly. Okay, so it is divided into proximal tubule, then a lip of Hanley, and then distal convoluted tubule. And this part is your here, which I have drawn, is known as peritubular capillaries. Okay, and the final part, this one is your renal vein. Okay. So these are some of the important parts you should know. And one more thing we will go through today. If we zoom into this area, okay, suppose if we zoom into this area, so what's going on in this particular area? So you can see this is the blood vessel. Okay, so this hole is your blood vessel. Okay, blood vessel, that is capillary, a single capillary. I am showing you a single capillary. Okay, so this capillary is filled with blood, like your RBC. Then this like your RBC, and these are your proteins. Okay, then these are your amino acid, and these are your sodium, potassium, okay, hydrogen ions. Okay, so these are so many things will be there in your blood plasma, you know that. Okay, so if you see closer to the these blood vessels, so these are generally made up of endothelial cells. Okay, these are generally made up of your what, endothelial cells. Okay, so these are your endothelial cells, made up of endothelial cells. Okay, these are generally made up of your endothelial cells. And if you remember, we have read about different type of arteries, types of arteries in our blood chapter. So this is a artery which is known as fenestrated arteries. Okay, this is known as fenestrated arteries. So there will be fenestration. This round you can see here. These are all fenestration. Okay, fenestration. These are all fenestration present in the endothelial cells of the blood vessel. Okay, and through this fenestration only, these small molecules will pass through. Okay, like your ions will pass through, and your amino acid can pass through. But the larger molecules like RBC and protein cannot pass through this fenestration. Okay, if they pass also by chance this fenestration, there is another layer. This is known as your basement membrane. Basement membrane. and these are very selective. It won't allow any larger particle to pass through this basement membrane. Okay, so once the basement membrane is crossed, you can see the tubular cells. Okay, this yellow color is your tubular cells. These are your tubular cells. Tubular cells, and these cells are nothing but epithelial cells. Epithelial cells. Okay, and there's another thing in this tubular cells. You can see another structure. This structure will hold these blood vessels together. Okay, this structure will hold these blood vessels together. They will have a finger like projections. Okay, they will have a finger like projection like this. Okay, so they will have a finger like projection. Okay, so not all, some will be epithelial chain and some will be having finger like projection, and these are known as podocytes. Podocytes. Okay, so this tubular cells will be having epithelial cells and podocytes, and these podocytes will hug the blood vessels. Okay, hug the endothelial cells together, so that it will be having in a close proximity with the your tubular cells. Okay, so this is the closer view of the junction between the your arteries and the Bowman's capsules. So let's quickly move on to the process of urine formation. Okay, formation of urine. So there are four steps in the urine formation. Okay, there are four steps in the urine formation. So I have marked it here: 1, 2, 3, 4. So first is your filtration process. Okay, that is your glomerular filtration. First is your glomerular filtration, followed by number 2 is your reabsorption, tubular reabsorption. Number 3 is tubular secretion, and number 4 is the excretion. So these are the four steps in the urine formation or formation of urine. These are the four steps. So namely, first one is glomerular filtration, followed by tubular reabsorption, then comes tubular secretion, and then comes excretion. Okay, so let's discuss what one by one slowly. So during glomerular filtration, both protein and blood cells. So okay, both proteins and blood cells will be too large. Okay, normally it won't be allowed to cross the uh, this Bowman's capsule, so it won't be allowed to cross because they are too large to cross the fenestration. Okay, so the protein and blood vessels are normally too large to pass through the filtering membrane. Okay, so these are too large, and suppose if they pass. Okay, suppose if in the urine sample you find protein and blood cells, that means there is a problem with the glomerular filter. Okay, so suppose if this either of these appears in the urine, That means there is usually a problem with the glomerular filter. Okay, so if you find any blood cells or any protein in the urine, then there is a problem in your glomerular filter. And remember how they pass through this area. The afferent arteriole, the size diameter of the afferent arteriole is larger than the efferent arteriole, and due to that pressure, this all the blood cells, all the blood plasma is filtered into the Bowman's capsule. Now next comes to the tubular reabsorption. So a tubular reabsorption means uh, when the filtrate, okay, when there are some essential substances in the filtrate, okay, other than the waste product like your amino acids, glucose, sodium and potassium, so these are needed by the body. So this will be reabsorbed in the peritubular capillaries, okay, this will be reabsorbed in the peritubular capillaries, and it will again circulate back in the blood circulation, okay. So substances like your other than waste products, substances like amino acids, glucose, sodium ion, potassium ion, hydrogen ion, etc., will be reabsorbed in the peritubular capillaries. Okay, so then there are some substances it will be this will reabsorb. So there are different processes of tubular reabsorption, like your passive reabsorption. So in this passive reabsorption, there is no energy is required. It will move. The substance will move according to the concentration gradient. Okay. Then there will be some active reabsorption. Active reabsorption. In this active reabsorption, we need energy. Okay, we need energy, and we need sometimes we need we will have membrane carrier, membrane proteins also. So we have membrane carriers and ATP. Okay, so these are some of the reabsorption reabsorption mechanism. Other than this, there are some like diffusion also will be there. Okay, so just remember active and passive. Okay, that's enough for us. Then this maximum reabsorption will take place in the proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, so most of the reabsorption will occur in proximal convoluted tubule. So this is the process of tubular reabsorption. Now next let's come for the tubular saturation. So tubular saturation means when the substances move from the peritubular capillaries and it comes back to the tubule. Okay, so it is known as your tubular saturation. Okay, so from peritubular capillaries, then back to tubule, that is renal tubule, and this is known as your tubular secretion. The tubular secretion is important for some kind of substances like your antibiotics, and some drugs should undergo tubular secretion so that it can come out from the urine. Okay, and like H plus and K plus ions and creatinine, this all comes from the peritubular capillaries or directly from the tubular swell itself into the filtrate to be eliminated in the urine. Okay, so let me write the sentence. And last one is your excretion. So whatever the waste products like creatinine, urea, and some hydrogen, potassium ion along with water will be come out in the form of urine. So these are the 4 steps in the formation of urine. Okay, these are the 4 steps in the formation of urine, and always remember the excretion is always equal to the filtration minus reabsorption plus secretion. So with this we have completed this urine formation of urine. So please go through my notes and try to make your notes, and after the video please do subscribe my channel and like my video, and thank you for listening to my lecture patiently.